4, 3.
Fuck it.
There's no words on it.
Tomorrow. Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
I've never seen that.
Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there.
Fuck it.
There's no words on it.
Tomorrow.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
I've never seen that.
Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there.
I don't know. Fuck. 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 I don't know. I don't know. Fuck. I don't know what. Go. I can't do it.
Fuck it.
Go. I can't do it.
Fuck it.
Go. I can't do it.
Fuck it.
Go. I can't do it.
Thanks again for watching.
Fuck it.
There's no words on it.
Tomorrow.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
I've never seen that.
Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there.
Fuck it.
There's no words on it.
Tomorrow.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
I've never seen that.
Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there.
Okay. Ready?
Take it away.
Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
Go.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Go.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Go.
Fuck it.
Go.
Fuck it.
What's that mean? To play us out?
Fuck it.
To end the show? Yeah.
What the fuck is up, everybody? Back from Hawaii, where I got lobster sunburn fried. But good to be back. Thumbs up in the chat if you guys can hear me. Audio's good. But yeah, if you're here early, you already know what we do on this show. Today's special because we have new stuff coming out that's not even on the market yet. And we're going to give the listeners, the viewers, a chance to get some shit that's not even out on the market yet. It will be coming out pretty soon, but it's the newest drop from Dark Horse. It's the Thanos drop. We used a Thanos mail, made some F2s of the Thanos and a bunch of other strains. But what do we want to give away first? I don't even have them in packaging, guys. They're that fresh. Weapon X. What do you think about Weapon X? Weapon X times Thanos. So if you want to win these seeds, darkhorselive@gmail.com is the email. Let's go with fifth person to email in the subject line, free shit, man. Free shit, man. There you go. That's how you win those fuckers. Let's go back to back. How about just Thanos F2s? Straight F2s. These were really hot seeds, sold out super fast. So Thanos F2s. If you guys want some Thanos F2s, how about darkhorselive@gmail.com? And the subject line, let's go with Thanos rules. And I'll pick like the third person this time. Also, guys, if you've been winning these in the past, I should have all the contest winners out by now. I get a little backlogged on it, but everyone should at least have a tracking number if you won. Also, if you're confused why you're not winning, we only pick one each show. I can't give everybody free shit. We wish we could, but there's hundreds of people trying. Also, if you've won before, try to wait 4 shows, or please wait 4 shows before you try to win more free shit. We just want everyone to get a chance at it. Some of you guys are like got this shit on lock. You know how to have your other browser open and you're ready to email as soon as I say the code words. But it's a lot of the same names every week, so I'm looking for guys that haven't won quite yet. But if it's been 4 shows, you're back in the ball game. So keep on winning. Thanks for watching. We got more shit we're gonna give out today, but I think we'll do a little bit in the middle and a little at the end. But let's talk about Grand Prix. So we were gonna have Ken Wallen today, and Ken's a legendary hash maker here in Colorado, but his kid got sick. So family first, of course. We're going to try to get Ken in here next week because I want to learn the secrets of rosin from the man, the master himself. Yeah, so I apologize for announcing Ken's coming, and Ken is out today. But we'll try to get him in here next week. So today we're just sort of spitballing. We're just filling a week here. But I want to talk 100K Grand Prix and what the 100K Grand Prix is, how the hell we did it, why we did it, and what we're going to do about it next year. So with that said, let's talk 100K Grand Prix. So the idea, where did the idea come from for a contest to win money for cannabis? And honestly, I'll say TH Caesar was kind of in my ear about doing a contest for Dark Horse. Like Dark Horse should do a cup. I think Gage Green might have done one. It's a good idea. It was like Dark Horse should do a cup. And he's telling me, you got to give away huge money. I think Jigga wanted to give out like 20 racks for like a pheno hunt or something. Is that right, C's? It's like it was 20 racks for like a pheno hunt, but it never panned out, never actually happened. But that kind of got the gears turning too. Like, what can we do potentially? I don't have fucking 20 racks. I don't have 100 racks. I don't have money to give out. But I thought maybe we can do it as like a crowdsource type of deal. So we sort of asked everybody out there, like, do you want to do this idea? I mean, the origins of the idea actually happened, I think, in Stone Ninja's chat, who just rated us, by the way. Thanks, Ninja, for the 30, 40 people you brought over today. But yeah, like, it was his chat folks too, because we were just sitting in the chat talking about, can we do this fucking idea? Does this idea actually work? How does the format of it work? And put it together. And yeah, we with the help of some of the members of the chat, we actually sort of put this idea together. And the idea, I mean, let's be real, it's a tournament like March Madness style with a bracket. Like, it's not anything that no one's ever thought of before. The Adam Dunn Show Invitational is a very similar concept and something that I've been a part of. So I've sat through this concept before. I also did it in Hawaii. I think there's a Hawaii Invitational that those boys throw. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I think they might have changed the name. But the Hawaii show was pretty dope. But they use the same format where we use like a bracket and we try to get to the best weed in the room with the bracket format. Those contests were invitationals and there was no money on the line. You didn't have to put money up for it. So you were just invited in, and we had a bros contest to see who had the best weed. But it was a pretty effective format to try to get to the best weed in the room, I thought. And might not necessarily get the best strain every time always, but I think your Elite 8 is pretty elite. Your Final 4 is pretty Final 4. Anybody in the Elite 8 to Final 4 could probably win this contest. I mean, and we'll get into the scoring on this because some of these scores were fucking close, dude. Like, we're talking real close. So, which I think is fascinating. So the main things that we changed from the format I'd seen before was we added obviously money to the equation. So you come with 2 ounces and $500, and it's a winner take all prize pool. I've never seen anything like that before in cannabis, so we decided to try that out for a chance. The other thing we changed was the format as far as your judging. In the past, when I've done these contests before, it was tables, just like we had kind of set up in our contest. But the tables, you would walk over the table and say, who won, guys? And they would just sort of spit out an answer at you. And I felt that was a little bit like there'd be guys that had certain opinions, but there'd be more boisterous people at the table that would speak up and say, this is what won. And that's kind of how it rolls. So I was like, why don't we just do it blind with a vote? You put it on a piece of paper, you put your score down, and we add it up, and there's a point factor, to a margin of victory on each strain moving to the next round. So we incorporated a margin of victory or a point scale to the contest also. And yeah, we brought it to Vegas. We invited anybody in the world. It wasn't an invitational. It's open to anybody, grow pros to home grows. And that was the basis of the changes that we made. But as we got it going, I'll be honest, like, we put it out there. I didn't advertise the hell out of it. We just sort of put it out and said, people want to do this thing. And people did seem kind of into it, but it didn't get a lot of legs or traction right off the bat, and a lot of that's because I didn't dump 20 grand into marketing and hire a PR firm or something to get out and push this all over the place. It's for the people of the people. If they want to do it, we'll do it. But yeah, it certainly didn't get a lot of traction or legs because I think we only had maybe 20, 30 people sign up, or not even 30, like 20 people sign up right off the bat. But by the time we got closer to the actual contest, which I knew would happen, we got it up to like 47 or 50 people. Now the target, of course, why we call it the 100K Grand Prix, we're trying to get 200 people to show up and do it over a 3-day period. And if we could do it over a 3-day period with 3 different semifinals and have the final round on the last day with the judging panel and award someone $100,000 legitimately, write them a check and change someone's life and change the way weed contests are potentially done in the future. But we knew this is a big undertaking, so where we kind of started off from is I got to find a venue, right? Like, venues, it's sort of like starting a dispensary. I invite you to call someone and ask them if you can bring 200 of your not even closest friends, 200 strangers into your building to smoke a bunch of pot, and don't worry, we'll be cool. Like, it's a hard ask. And we went all around the city of Vegas and asked tons and tons and tons of places. I wanted to do it in a commercial spot. And originally we had a deal to rent an esports arena. So that's where the esports aspect of this kind of came to mind. But I was like, let's do an esports arena and put it up on the big screen and stream it, you know. And the place that we rented, the Millennial Esports Arena in Vegas, went out of business, went bankrupt by the time the Grand Prix actually came to be. So while we had it rented, by the time we got to December, that place was gutted and bankrupt and sold. And so I don't know the story there, but it was mismanaged. And it sucks because it was a really cool place, and they were down to let us do this. So now we're scrambling again. I found another bar. It was a pool hall. They would let us move all their pool tables and take over, but it was going to be $10,000-$20,000 to buy out their bar and rent their spot, you know. And finally, we settled on a residential type deal, which was, you know, it's the Tyson residence in Vegas. It's not like Mike Tyson's actual living house right now, so we're not going to mislead anybody on that. But it has to do with Tyson Ranch people, and they were kind enough to let us come in and use their mansion, which worked out pretty good for what we were trying to do. So we put the challenge out there. We get 47 or so people to show up. It's day one of Vegas of this contest, the inaugural contest. So I brought with me about 10 fucking guys as volunteers and other help. And we're running around like crazy trying to set this thing up. And we get to intake. And this is where I want to talk to the crowd or the viewers. So if you are a part of the intake, feel free to speak up here because I'm going to review the chat after it's over and a little bit live here. But the intake process was interesting because I had everybody show up, you know, between 2 and 5 p.m. And I said, bring your own scissors and not jars, but bring your own scissors. And we don't want you to drop off 2 ounces of weed in a bag or a jar and we break it up for you into little gram samples because we're just going to cut that shit up. And who knows how your herb is being treated. So we want you to be ultimately responsible for every single person sees that jar. So we invited the contestants to come and gram out their 2-ounce sample into 56 grams so that we could then use those for the contest. But we wanted them to be able to trim them up with scissors or everything else. But I'll be honest, we got feedback where it was too chaotic. There was too many people coming at the same time. There wasn't enough table space. People are trimming up or preparing their entries next to each other. And the idea is the whole thing's supposed to be blind. Now, some people are talking about what strains they have and what they're entering, and they're confident, so they don't have any problem talking about what they are. Other people are being very secretive and hidden in the corner, you know, not really trying to reveal what they have or who they are or any of that stuff. So I'm interested in what the viewership / attendees would do differently for an intake period, knowing that, you know, next year I'd like to have 3 days, but knowing that how do we intake the product without everybody being all on top of each other. I don't want people driving around with 56 grams of weed or whatever to deliver them. I don't want them to pick them up and take it away. I feel like it should all be secure, done in the same facility that we're going to do the contest in. But we could obviously time slot it a little bit differently. But I'm interested in hearing the most authentic, true to the contest way of doing an intake. And if any of you guys have any comments, feel free to let us know. But I give props to my team because it was pretty crazy. I mean, there was people everywhere. We're trying to label the jars. We got to get them upstairs. We can't let anybody know what's what. Keeping it all organized amongst 50 entries was tricky. And the target was 64 entries per day. So if we would have had 3 days of 64 entries, it would have been pretty tricky. Now, if we want to do it 3 times or there are 3 times the amount of people next year for $100,000. So how can we do that? I see this comment in here in Twitch. How can we do it if we have 4 times the people? Well, we're going to try to break it up over 3 days. So essentially, we repeat the same contest 3 days in a row. But about the 3rd day, we should have our intake process super on point. But the idea is we have to intake 64 people in one day in the morning and have the contest at that evening. It's not impossible. It's just going to require coordination. And I'm not exactly sure the best way to do that moving forward. So I'm just asking for the audience's help on that one. So if you have any ideas on intake, let me know. But moving forward, let's get to the contest. Well, the contest was, we had a grand vision of what we wanted to do. The contest went, I think, smoothly. The actual nuts and bolts of the contest. The live stream was shit. Like, and that's no reflection of Stone Ninja. Stone Ninja's the boss. Like, he held down what was super chaotic and made it into something somewhat viewable. You know what I mean? So props to Stone Ninja. But the idea that we had going in was like, let's get information on everyone so that we can talk about their strains as they come up, and then sort of like do a little quick bio on them and show them their round by round. We'll introduce their strain, this person, where they're from, everything else. Now, what happened being year one is we were so crazy running around trying to make sure all the jars got delivered to the tables and everything was being done properly with the contest that the live production really fell apart. And it's not Ninja's fault. We put him on the computer and said, sit here and, you know, broadcast. And he was not being fed the information that I wanted to feed him. We wanted to give him the strains. I think he sat there for 30, 45 minutes without any of the entries as we did the first 3 rounds. So that was a screw up on us, and the production will obviously only get better as we learn how to do these things. But so we start the contest, and like I say, it kicks off. I will say this, early in the contest, if you plan to do this with us next year, this is a fatal flaw a lot of people made, is you want to be a good judge, right? But you don't need to smoke an entire gram joint of every strain the entire time. I would advise you to come with a chillum and just take a taster. You know what I mean? The early rounds is you have to get through some of the boofy weed. And not to say that there was shitty weed there, but there was some weed that wasn't nearly on par with the winter stuff. So it's like you don't really want to sit and have to smoke something that's terrible. It's like just take a couple hits off your chillum and go to your scorecard. Keep in mind, you got to go 8 rounds today or whatever. So a lot of people just went ham on the herb, you know, ready to go, and fired up 2 full joints and smoked them to their head, and they're high as shit after the very first round. Well, we got many, many rounds to go through. But with that said, I want to bring up the bracket because I think the bracket's pretty cool. Let's see. So here's the bracket. I'm not sure if you guys can see this very well on IG, but I'm going to read it. As we kind of go round through round. And one thing I'll say about the bracket too, here's a huge point where I want to talk about. The bracket was, I used a software called Challenge, powered by Challenge right down here in the corner. I hate this software. I didn't realize what it was going to do. See, I wanted my bracket to look traditional, like up top here. If you look at the top of the screen, up here, see I have a left and a right side, a red and a blue side, and it meets in the middle. Well, this Challenge software, while it is effective and it did what I wanted to do, it made a one-sided bracket, and it pushed a lot of buys into the second round, like 10 buys, when it should have probably played them out in the first round. So I will, you know, if you are part of this contest, I'm fully, you know, acknowledging I don't love this bracket format. And what I'm going to ask people is, I don't know if we have a, you know, a computer programmer star or somebody who knows anything about how to do this, but I'd like to build this exact format of a bracket where I can add, you know, totals, and we can look at the match details, and we can see Obama Kush versus Moon drops, and it's 347 to 317, and we see the winner move on. But I want it to be more of a 64-man traditional bracket. And this Challenge thing is, while we only had 47 people, it had to work with what it had to work with. It kicked a lot of people into the second round, which I'm not sure why it did that. And then it also, like I say, it only built a one-sided bracket. I know it doesn't truly matter in the end, but I would prefer that if we're going to do a 64-person bracket next year, three days of 64 people brackets, that we have software very similar to this, but yet doesn't do the weird formatting of the brackets that this software did. I don't think the contest was in jeopardy by any means. I just think that some people got us a bit of a pass to the second round, which probably should have battled out in the first round. But that's my comments on that. So I'll appeal to anybody out there. Please hit me up on the emails. We'll just use the Dark Horse live email. But if you have an idea of how to do this contest or this live, because the idea behind the bracket too is it's streamed live. So we want people to see live what's winning live as they're watching on the stream. So I need to be able to input the scores, update them live, show online on the website embedded, just like the Challenge software. And I looked at many softwares and I didn't find a whole lot that actually worked for me. But this served its purpose, but I know we can do better. And also, as far as the selections of, how do you become number 5, number 17, whatever, we had a big wheel spin deal, like a lottery. And all we did with the lottery was just pull out names and numbers or whatever, and 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down the thing until it was full. We could probably film that process, although it's hella boring, and but we could film that process and let everyone see it for full transparency. That's the idea of this event. But that's how we did it. We did it just like a drum roller, and we put numbers on everybody's name, and we pulled them out one by one, and we just built a bracket like that. So if you got a bye to the second round, it was pure chance during this time. But let's look at the first round real quick. Just any standouts that we may have. First round, we got a GMO here. Yeah. And we got a Black Widow. GMO loses the Black Widow, which may be an upset here, but 256 to 240. So I like the fact we have a margin of victory here. Margin of victory is cool to me, and that comes into play here, as we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail. But here's a powerhouse matchup right off the bat. Rotten Cherries versus Do-Si-Do. I could even tell you who did these. The Do-Si-Do, I can tell you who did 1 through 32. I don't have past 32. 12 was Rotten Cherries by Herbal Cure. It's a Colorado dispensary here, which did very well. You can see it proceeded on pretty well. Bordello here, old strain. Excuse me. Old strain. Mac loses to the AB3. I don't know what the AB3 is, but it's by Jeff Y. AB3. That's a small known home grower. Excuse me, I gotta take a drink. All right. So, another matchup down here. Josh D, Melon Cake. Josh D was a real good entry. 32. Who entered the 32 was Green Diamond. It was a real good entry. Another GMO. This GMO beats Mac and Cheese. 299 to 288. Close margin of victory. Even here on this AJ Kush to this duct tape, see the lower scores? This is interesting because we don't tell people what they have to score. Like they can score low or they can score high. So you can see scores up in the 300s if people are scoring it high. That table is scoring high, but you can see scores low if people are scoring low or harsher. But this is probably the closest margin of victory here. This GMO 9 versus North Shore number 3. I take that back. That's a large margin of victory. 235 to 321. But yeah, a lot of GMOs were present in the early rounds. When we go round 2, this is where the competition starts to get a little tighter. So keep in mind, to get to round 2, we actually have to do 4 rounds in the first round of people smoking. So the tables smoking are smoking like, 8 grams to this point. And then we start round 2. Papaya Punch, a real strong strain. Again, that Black Widow. This is what I'm talking about with the bye. The Papaya Punch gets a bye into the second round here, when probably it should have went in the first round versus something else before it gets the bye. But Papaya Punch beats Black Widow by just small margin of 282 to 271. We go down into Obama Kush and the Do-Si. It's another really close margin of victory. So when you look at these scorecards that we use, guys, the scorecards, ask you to between 5 different categories to give us a score from 1 to 10. So your max score is 50 per card, I believe. So just a few points can make the difference. Like I said, a few points can make the difference between like winning that round or losing that round. So the early rounds is significant. Your scorecard and how you're judging the shit or whatever. It's significant. If you give a strain a 6 versus a 10, or say we have a guy in the contest, maybe he's giving everything 1s or 0s. He's being strategic. We don't limit that, but we're not going to ask you to score anything in a certain way. But if someone's giving everything all 0s and these margin of victories are by a few points, that guy is ultimately screwing with the contest. So it's something to be discussed, I think, with the group here. Is what do we do if we see a guy who is clearly scoring zeros. Are we just going to call it strategy, or are we going to call him he's scoring ones and twos? Or is that guy just a hard critic, or is he being strategic to try to fuck with the contest? And are we going to allow that? I'm inclined to let people vote however the fuck they want to vote. If it's your strategy to vote zeros all the way through, that's your strategy. But I'm not really that sure, the best way to proceed with that. I'll ask the chat again, like I say, to jump in and if they have any ideas with it. Continuing on the second round, just a couple of close calls in here. It's Blueberry Muffin Top, the Mendo Crumble. The Blueberry Muffin Top was 303 Skywalker. I think that went pretty far, actually. But yeah, that was a pretty close call for him in the second round to get through. There was one in here that I really wanted to focus on. That was super close. Where was that? Yeah, this one right here, guys. Look at round 2, Grease Monkey versus Rotten Cherries. Grease Monkey was, let's see who that was. That was the Dank Knight. And Rotten Cherries, number 12, that was entered by the Herbal Cure again. So look at this score. It's 342 to 321. It's just really, really close. Like really close, 20 points. I mean, it possibly could have been a little bit closer or a little bit tighter, you know what I mean? But I look at that beat as like one of the toughest beats of the tournament. I just see that as two really good fucking strains that meet round 2, and Grease Monkey going down there. That's a tough beat. But yeah, look at Bordello right below it here. You would think Bordello is like long fucking gone. I assume this strain is the old Bordello. It's 43, so unfortunately I don't have the information in front of me on who did it, but that Bordello makes me interested. All right, moving down a little bit more. Here's the Billy Idol. This goes on to win 297 over the GMO here. I think this is a powerhouse matchup here too, just because the GMO is probably one of the strains that could have knocked this off. But it didn't. Here in the next round, you see Billy Idol smokes the Mac 1, 373 to 230. So the margin of victory is very big here, like definitely very big. But let's move it on to round 3, just see if any notable victories here, standouts. The Obama Kush is placing well, stealing very high scores all the way throughout. The Rotten Cherries is holding on, beats the Bordello there by about 50 points. Here we see the AB3 go down to the Hells. I think Hells was a finalist. Josh DOG to Blueberry Muffin Top. Here's a power like couple of strains. To put these two together in the third round, this is a Sweet 16, I believe. Somebody's got to go down. But damn, those are two great strains. I actually remember smoking both these strains after the contest, and either one of those. That's why I say once we get to the Elite 8, any one of these strains can absolutely win. I see a couple comments in here thrown about losers brackets or ideas. So one issue I have with the contest is to be able to get through all these rounds. To get to the final, we use every bit of your weed. So if you lose or we do a losers bracket, I would need more weed to continue the contest. I don't really want to ask people to show up with like 3 or 4 ounces a pot for this contest. I feel like 2 ounces is about as much as I can ask, and 2 ounces, 56 grams, gets me through 16 judges per round to the very end. So there is a bit of an issue with, can we do a loser's bracket? I'd love to, but I don't know how we can do it without, asking for more pot. Maybe there could be like a loser's bracket where you buy back in with 2 more ounces. It's a potential. I mean, you don't have to buy in, but if you go to loser's bracket, you have to supply 2 more ounces. So it's an option, but I don't really want to have people, showing up with quarter pounds of weed and stuff. All right, so let's move to round 4, the final. This is the Elite 8. So you got the Cake, the Billy Idol going up. Billy Idol smashes them. Duct Tape to Blueberry Muffin Top. Once again, that Blueberry Muffin Top is really well grown, so that smashes it. Rotten Cherries to Hells. This was a showdown, dude. These are 2 great fucking strains again. Hells squeaks it out. No, squeaks it out. He wins pretty handily. 322, 288. Skywalker to Obama Kush in the end up here. Skywalker comes through. Skywalker, I believe, was Derek Lopes out of Hawaii, so that was some Hawaii grown weed. Showed really well at the contest. And then Final Four time. This was Final Four is day 2. So Final Four, we take it out of the hands of the competitors and we put it into the hands of the celebrity judge panel, if you will. They were all breeders. I don't want to call them celebrities, but breeders, people who know the fuck what's up with some weed, was the idea. So we get to the Final Four, and Skywalker versus Hells, Powerhouse, Blueberry Muffin Top to Billy Idol. Into the finals, Hells goes, and Billy Idol goes to the final. Look at the margin of victory here in the finals, guys. This whole contest, which we go to Hells OG, this was grown 25. Jacob Goldenberg. Jacob Goldenberg is actually a grower for the Herbal Cure in Colorado. So I kind of put him in the Grow Pro category. And then we got Billy Idol, which was grown by the Finer Side out of Rhode Island, which is a home grower. They also have a shop, I believe, somewhere out there. But these were essentially two home grows that of guys who work in the industry, if you will, all around, different from around the country. But the margin of victory, 239 to 241. So when you think about it, it was 3 points that actually crowned the victory here. And we had to add these cards up 2-3 times. And that brings me to another question I have for the chat. What do we do in the event of a tie? I was crossing my fingers through this whole contest that we don't have a tie, because it is possible. And I didn't have a contingency plan for a tie. So thank goodness we didn't have a tie. But what do we do in the event that we have a tie? What would again, feel free to email me if you have ideas for the contest. Feel free to spit them out in the chat. But who should be the tiebreaker? How do we do that? Keep in mind, I can't really go back and submit, a bunch of weed to do the whole table over again, because if the guy that wins goes to the finals, then I'm going to run short of his product. So it's like I have to come up with a solution of the winner. And I don't know the best way to do that. Maybe myself or Caesar could just come in as the tie-only judge as people put this contest on and say, we choose this. But I hate that idea, because people will then say, like, we picked favorites or something. The idea behind the whole contest is, how the fuck do we do this, as transparently as possible? Because we hear the same shit. Everyone says, oh, the cups are rigged, and, how would you do this? If you were going to enter a cup and you thought all the cups were rigged and people buy all the cups, like, how can you do it in a way that nobody can question the authenticity of the cup? And I think by doing a scorecard system, showing the scorecards potentially, that's another question I have for the chat. How do we add up the cards? Now, we used BK Roller and some of his family to add the cards up, and why I trust BK Roller to add the cards up. But what is do we have a designated person that adds the cards? Do we have an official auditor over the shoulder? Because we did. We actually added the cards up 2-3 times when they got close. And the thing is we got to ask these guys to add the cards up quick, otherwise we'll be here all night. And they have to add a lot of cards. I think we had 5-6 people adding scorecards on calculators, and then they double check the math. And then when it was close, we'd add them all up again to double check the math. So, the only thing I can think of is doing it just like we did, doing it in the room where the competition is. So there's no funny business where we carry it off behind closed doors or anything. We do it in the room where the competition is. They add them up in the corner. They deliver the results to the ninja at the broadcast table. We update the brackets and move on to the next round. And the people in the room have no idea who won or lost that round. That's the idea. But again, that's how would you add up these scores for total transparency if this was your contest? And secondly, what the fuck was secondly? I just asked a question before that. I don't know. I'm smoking. But yeah. Input on the contest. So for 2020, let's talk about the upcoming Grand Prix. So we want to do it again. I would love to do it again. But this year we would love to have 200 people enter, do it over a 3-day period, maybe the finals on the 4th day, a 3-day period, do it in Las Vegas. We're going to do it around the time of BizCon again. Makes it easy for me to get judges and other people over to the event. Looks like BizCon is going to be December 2nd, like earlier this year or something strange. They've changed the dates again. So I'm not going to give an official date on when 2020 100K Grand Prix is going to be, but I will say it will be along with the BizCon. And I'm going to announce officially right now that we are going to open up the 2020 Grand Prix March 1st. So just about 10 days from now, we're going to start taking in entries, or not entries, but you can buy your entry. And I'm going to encourage everyone to get their entries paid up early this year, because I don't want to take entries the day of like last year as far as your cash. That got confusing and there's too much going on for me to try to manage your intake of your stuff. We make it real simple. All you got to do is get on the website and sign up. So what I have here, might as well show you how to sign up. It's not built as of this very moment because it's last year's page, but we were reworking the website a little bit. But all you got to do to sign up for this is go to the 100kgrandprix.com, go to sign up as a competitor, and then this will be available for you on March 1st, where you can sign up right here. The rules are going to be no more than 4 entries per person. If you have 4 entries, we'll try to chop you up amongst different days, so you're not competing against yourself head-to-head in one of the rounds. That's the idea. But yeah, the sign up is right here on the website. It's 2 ounces. It's going to be $500. It's a winner-take-all prize pool. So last year was $30,000. This year, my goal is to get it to 100 racks. I think we can get 200 people. I mean, shit, there's probably 150 people watching this right now across all platforms. If everybody watching this, if you're not even going to enter, if you could tell somebody to enter, or if you can promote this for me better than we did last year, tell somebody about the Grand Prix that doesn't know about the Grand Prix. Help us get to 200 people to enter this contest. It's actually 196. And we will give away $100,000 next December, and we will change somebody's fucking life. And I'll be stoked to do it. This December, technically. So with that, I'm going to ask or open it up to some questions. I can kind of scrolling around watching. But anybody have any questions about the Grand Prix? Again, ideas what we can do better. I'm going to spend the next few seconds smoking this joint and looking at the chat. But now questions about Grand Prix, questions how to make it better. It says maybe you use a time delay on the stream so the contestants knowing from what's being reviewed. Well, I like the idea for the case of collusion. What we did on that point is we made all the competitors put their cell phones in brown paper bags, so they could not pull their phones out of their pocket and look at the live stream or get texts telling them what they were smoking or anything along those lines. So rather than say, everybody give me your fucking phones, we said, put your phones in a brown paper bag. If we see you open your brown paper bag, you're out of the contest. So that was my high tech, fucking idea to keep people out of fucking looking online at the same time they're judging. See iRock in the chat. iRock shows up with a strong showing each year. Definitely. I've had questions if we could do this contest for hash. We possibly could do this contest for hash, but I'm going to focus it one more time on flower. My goal is to get to 100K. If we get to the 100K, then we can expand satellites. People have asked if we're going to do this multiple places. We possibly will do this in multiple places, but again, my goal is to do every year, December, the Super Bowl of weed, the biggest cash prize in cannabis, getting bigger every year, to one lucky winner. One guy takes it all, second place is the first loser. I don't know if you guys like that format or not. Maybe we can come up with a People's Choice winner and throw them 5 racks or something, you know what I mean? But I like the idea that everyone shows up like World Series of Poker, puts their money on the table, their weed on the table, and we go for it for one fucking winner. Let me know. What do you think? How can people enter from other countries? That's one thing about this contest is I'm not going to talk about logistics. All I'm going to tell people is you got to be in Las Vegas in December with your 2 ounces and your $500. And if you're there, you're in. So I don't care where you come from, bro. New Zealand, fucking Australia, however you do it, you do it. But they're certainly not giving any advice on how to make that happen. Also, better snacks, please. Comps was 5 hours, and all I had to eat was cupcakes. You are right, sir. Yeah, I would like to cater a little bit better, obviously. That's a little bit of a tricky one, too, because, it's a 4 or 5 hour deal where you got to smoke mad weed, sit there. We try to provide as much beverages as we could because we knew you guys were going to get thirsty. No alcohol because we want you to stay on point. But we just threw in cupcakes on the table for some sweet snacks and shit. But yeah, I could probably give you guys more food. I just don't want people getting up in the middle of the event, like making a full plate of fucking, turkey and ham and shit and going and sitting down and trying to eat and smoke on contest or whatever. It's like maybe short food breaks or something like that. But I feel you. The food situation was a little bit dire. And that's a direct result of, we had limited sponsorship. Like I said, Dark Horse sort of just made this happen for everybody at a decent expense to us. More Lambos. I see the Lambos. Yeah. Anybody who wants to join me? I can't believe I'm giving away my fucking dope secret on the air right here. But Black Friday deal, dude. Black Friday. You're coming out to Vegas in December. You already know when it's Black Friday. Go rent yourself a super dope fucking exotic sports car for about $700 a day. And we'll race them bitches. Anybody who wants to race next year at the Grand Prix, fucking race is on. I don't give a fuck. Let's do it. Another thing that I would like to talk about just briefly is like sound. So there was no sound. We just had Ninja talking over like a CCTV setup, like of all the tables. I would like to get sound so it's more like World Series of Poker where we can go into that table and hear what they have to say. It's just tricky. Our budget was limited on audio. It's hard to put 12, 13, 14 cameras streaming on the internet, cheaply. But we did pull it off. That's one thing I'll talk about too is we had a guy approach me right after the event that says he wants exclusive rights to broadcast the 100K Grand Prix, and it's coming from a video game network. And I'm interested in the people's thoughts on that. Should Ninja and I and my crew continue to try to hodgepodge this thing together with our limited streaming skills? Or do we take it to like a large production company, but then we probably lose control essentially of like the marketing of it? There might be commercials in the middle of the shit. You know what I mean? Like these people that want to have exclusive rights to broadcast the 100K Grand Prix moving forward are probably going to do a smashing job with the TV truck and everything else, but they're not going to do it for nothing. So they're going to need to get their money back out of it or something with commercials or other bullshit that this fan base might not want to see. So what is your opinions on potentially using like a exclusive broadcast company and a truck and all that? I'll tell you this right now, Stone Ninja's staying in the booth as long as he wants to stay in the booth. So we're not getting rid of Stone Ninja if we go with a broadcast company or some shit. We're just turning them up a little bit. But should Stone Ninja have a co-host? I mean, I think he held it down himself pretty well, but usually there's a color commentary guy. What do you guys think? And if Stone Ninja does need a co-host or wants one, who would you like to see his co-host be? I will say the Tommy Chong camp was really interested in doing something with the Grand Prix next year. I don't really want to make him a judge because Tommy, as much as I love him, doesn't exactly know what's what on the new strains and what's super hot. But I'd like to incorporate him somehow. So what do you think, Ninja and Tommy Chong on the desk next year, maybe? Trying to read the shit, but it's going pretty quick. No exclusive broadcasts. Cool, appreciate the feedback. Ninja is the color. He is. Ninja's the color and the play-by-play. He's everything. Just plan better, keep it how it is. I can dig with that. Not Seth Rogen. You have any idea how much time is on this?
You got 1 minute left.
1 minute?
What time did you start the countdown?
About 7:05. So we got about 10 minutes. So about maybe 10 minutes left in this broadcast today, folks. So I'd like to cover anything that I'm not covering. I'm trying to watch the comments. Can you be a judge? Yeah. The judges are the competitors themselves. So if you sign up, you will judge all the way up till the last round. So I thought about this as another way to generate some income or something potentially where like I like the idea the competitors are the judges themselves because it keeps the contest more honest in my opinion. If I were to sell judging passes to like Chalice does and have those people vote for a winner, it could be just like High Times where a company could essentially buy all of the passes through their crew or whatever and control the vote. So I didn't like that idea, but there is maybe a way where we can sell like judges kits to people who don't want to enter and then they become the people's choice or something like that. But again, the amount of cannabis is limited on these entries that I need for the rounds. But you will also notice, after the very first round, there's like 2 or 3 pounds of weed that's been eliminated immediately. So that's why we have a pretty dope party on the last night and smoke a fuck ton of weed and pass it out. And yeah, that's sort of the idea is Grand Prix turns into a dope party also. That's another, I say that doing the video game stream company is a good idea for sure. And I'll say something about that is like, I'm just interested in the people's thoughts because they approached me and they said, we can get 1 million viewers. They need $20,000 and they'll put a leading video game player in Japan versus some guy in America and some like World of Warcraft shit or something like that. And then that'll be the lead in. And then the lead in goes straight into the 100K Grand Prix with 1 million viewers watching the stream. And my thought is video game people aren't going to give a fuck about a weed contest. So what's the point of the lead in? But then he was saying, well, we could have the contest essentially turn into a hybrid of a video game weed contest type of deal where they play a video game after this in between rounds when you add up the cards and it's a match or something that goes down and that keeps the huge worldwide viewing audience and creates a hybrid matchup of these two genres together. But I'm inclined not to bring in the video game world into a weed contest. While video gamers smoke fucking mad weed, I don't think that they're going to want to watch as much. The weed people will be sitting through the video game shit like hurry up, and the video game people will be sitting through the weed shit like when's the next game coming on. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? It does sound too good to be true too. But this guy comes from the esports world in Las Vegas, and his job is to organize mega events for big money. He does the Madden tournaments and other things. So, we talk to Twitch executives about all this stuff too. It says, but in the end, the only way to keep this event within your vision, you guys have to do it in-house, just with the help. See, and that's where I'm leaning towards. I kind of agree with you there, dude. Like, I do want to keep it within my vision, where it's literally just we're doing a weed contest, and that's going to be entertaining enough. True weed heads want to fucking see what strain beats what strain, and they'll sit there and watch for 10 minutes to see why the scorecards come in. So I think it'll build organically without any kind of hype hoopla bullshit. But that's just my take on it. But shit, I forgot to give away more stuff. We got to the end of this thing and I didn't give away that much shit. So let me give away some more shit real quick. What did I give away already? Let's do this one. Grape Smash. Grape Smash to the Thanos. This one's going to be really fruity. Crazy terps on this fucker. So yeah, you guys want to win some Grape Smash before we get the fuck out of here? darkhorselive@gmail.com. How about the fourth person to send 100K Grand Prix? Fuck yeah. And you'll win some seeds that you can't even buy yet. How about that, folks? I will say this. We are going to put a couple of these Thanos F2s on the site, just like maybe like 5 or 10 packs tonight. So anybody watching this shit, you're getting the sneak peek on the early drop. The only other way is you get these things is probably going to be through Spanavis or the limited drop on C Bazaar. But yeah, look for the new drop coming out soon. And what else can I tell you guys? Support the Grand Prix. No one's making money off of it. It's literally a winner-take-all contest that we're doing for the people. If you have ideas to help, if you want to volunteer next year, that's one thing I learned is I had 10 volunteers per day, and it wasn't enough. So we probably need a few more volunteers. I'm interested in taking the idea out of a residential home into like a warehouse, but that's going to require more sponsorship. If you want to sponsor the Grand Prix, get in early, let us know because, I need sponsorship cash to make the thing go over the top and make it dope. Without any money, I'll figure it out and we'll give away the money to the winner. But if we get some sponsorship money, I can make the thing fucking dazzle. You know what I'm saying? Well, with that, I think we're probably about 50-minute mark. So I think I'm gonna look at a few more questions just before I get out of here. I say the slightly amateurish video stream setup only adds character to the event. I mean, you're right about that, dude. Like, this was 3 bros trying to figure out how to, run an event on the internet. There should be somewhere to mail your flower. I don't want to touch that one just because, yikes. What does the sponsorship package look like? Essentially, if you watch back the stream, we have logos in the corner rotating out. We did commercials last year for Attitude and Pure Sativa where they cut in and take over the stream. But we could sell like 30-second commercial spots. You could sponsor the bar, all kinds of shit, We'll make it dope for you if you want to be a part of it. If you're a seed company, you want to be a part of it, it'd be a pretty good idea to get your name out there. Gift bags. We did gift bags last year. Probably the dopest fucking gift bags you've ever fucking seen. There's like $800 worth of seeds in the gift bags. So shit, buy a fucking ticket for $100 to come to the thing and you're going to come out on top with a bunch of free weed. There's people walking out of there with a quarter pound of weed in their bag and $800 worth of seeds and they just showed up to watch the thing. So like, yeah, I can't guarantee next year that you're going to walk out with as much, but if you want to kick into the gift bag, help us build the dopest gift bags of all time. About 3 minutes, so I think I'm going to say see ya, folks. Again, I appreciate everybody for watching. Next week, we're going to try to bring on Ken and get a little more technical, talk hash stuff. But today, we just shot the shit on the Grand Prix. If anyone has any questions, feel free to hit up myself, Stone Ninja, TH Caesar, and we'll try to answer it. If you have any ideas, input, let us fucking know. But yeah, we'll try to make it bigger, better. And if we get to 100 racks, then from there, maybe we can make it like a satellite tournament buy-in type thing where it becomes really like World Series of Poker. But I appreciate everybody who's supported in the past, and I appreciate everybody who supports it in the future. So let us know if you have any questions, any input, and we're trying to make it 2020. Tickets or entries go on sale. Tickets and entries are going to go on sale in 10 days, March 1st, on 100kgrandprix.com. So check it out, guys. And with that, I'm going to sign this fucker off. Appreciate everybody.